The Lord be with you. A proclamation from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. The Lord said, "Woe to you who build the memorials of the prophets whom your fathers killed. Consequently, you bear witness and give consent to the deeds of your ancestors, for they killed them and you do the building. Therefore the wisdom of God said, I will send to them prophets and apostles. Some of them they will kill and persecute, in order that this generation might be charged with the blood of all the prophets shed since the foundation of the world. From the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who died between the altar and the temple building. Yes, I tell you, this generation will be charged with their blood. Woe to you, scholars of the law! You have taken away the key of knowledge. You yourselves did not enter, and you stopped those trying to enter. When Jesus left, the scribes and Pharisees began to act with hostility toward him and to interrogate him about many things, for they were plotting to catch him at something he might say. Brothers and sisters, the good news of our salvation.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear friends, bulang udto kanatong tanan. In our gospel today, particularly this phrase, woe to you, in Cebuano term, pagkaalaot ninyo. Such harsh words Jesus had for the Pharisees and scribes who opposed him. But we should remember that when he cried out, woe to you, he was not really insulting them. Rather, he was expressing a deep sorrow, heartbreak, even at the ways that their sin had created a wall between God and them. Jesus knew that he had come to bring life, and he saw how these men had cut themselves off from their life, and how their attitudes and words made it even harder for their followers to embrace life. Jesus came to pardon and reconcile, and it broke his heart to see people turning their backs on his generous gift. When we think about the state of the world, or even we see someone cutting himself off from God, how do we react? It can be very easy to condemn wrong choices and the people who make them, especially when those choices hurt us in some way. But all it takes a moment to pause and intercede instead. Turning our hearts to prayer, we can get a taste of the way Jesus mourns over sin, and that taste can soften our hearts and wash away all judgmental thoughts. How do we look at ourselves? It is not uncommon for those who view people judgmentally to be equally hard on themselves. Do not let that happen. God is merciful and loving. He is not weighing the bad in us against the good so that we can remove blessings from us. Remember, Jesus came into the world not to condemn, but to save. That is in the Gospel of John chapter 3, verse 17. If anything, he is saddened when we erect walls between him and us, and when we place walls between one another. So woe is not necessarily a bad thing. Rather than being a passive sadness, it can be a catalyst for restorative action. and that is change. It can help us change the way we look at ourselves and our world. As we see Jesus' sadness over the world or over our own hearts, we can feel moved closer to mercy and spurred on to intercession. It can also draw us toward Him into the fullness of His life. Lord, give us a heart softened by sorrow like yours. We don't want sin to harden our heart. We want to love as we loved. Amen.